Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brad Durham's podcasting couch.
That's not Brad Durham.
Oh, it's podcasting couch.
Yeah, it's the same couch.
It's yours.
It is.
Exactly.
What are we doing here?
We are on episode 104, and we're going to talk about Brad.
You gotta give the handshake.
I gotta do a handshake.
You gotta do the handshake. Yes. The power shake.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're gonna talk all about me. Just what I love doing. It makes me uncomfortable, but I want to tell a story. Never could. I always have a hard time talking about myself unless it's conversational.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know if you're gonna get killed in the car wreck, tomorrow. So I want to get a lot of this stuff. That's the whole point of doing a lot of the podcast stuff. But how you feeling about Durhamfest? You excited?
I'm so excited.
Are you?
I'm so excited. I think a lot of people are going to come out for it this year.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be maybe more than, I don't know, we'll see. It's at a public place, been able to advertise it. It's associated with like the dirt biking community, so there's a lot of bikers coming out.
Yeah.
Definitely put a lot of prep into this one. So we're going to be live streaming
Yes.
for the people in whereabouts
Exactly.
and whatnot. Nice.
We have to. We gotta make it happen.
Nice.
Something big this year. Part 3. And then bigger next year.
Don't talk about next year till this one's over. Stop it. Walter's already talking about next year. Nope. Stop. Let's get through one.
He's ready.
Yes, he's ready. Which that's kind of a funny deal. I told this story, but we were in Houston, and Gary calls us, our drummer. And he's like, "Hey, this is like 3 weeks ago." He's like, "Hey, he saw the heart doctor. He's got to go in annually for a checkup." And they said, "Hey, like, he's got a pacemaker, and one of the leads was out."
Yeah.
And so they're like, "We might have to do surgery like right around the time of the show. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it." It's like, holy shit, like there's so many people involved. We got a food truck, we got trash, we got porta potties and stuff, and people's schedules. It was late in the game to be doing that. And Walter was like, "I know all the songs, I know them."
Good.
So he practiced with us. Gary was coming out and coaching him, and then turns out Gary's not going to end up having the surgery till the 25th.
Oh.
So Gary is going to play the show, but
Good.
Walter put in the work, so he's letting Walt do 5 songs with Durham.
Good.
So that's really exciting. And you know what? It made him better, even though he's not able, And we want to do the show with Gary. He's our drummer.
Yeah.
We got our own thing with Walt that we're doing, so that's pretty special. So
Good.
we will be official Durham capacity
Heck yeah.
this year, playing all your favorite hits. What's your favorite song?
When the hero dies.
Yeah, Walt's playing that one.
Good. Oh my gosh. Good.
He cooks on it. Ironically, Gary's more of a southern rock guy, more country rock. He brings more of that country and more like Matchbox 20 kind of rock. So the heavier stuff he's not quite as keen on, whereas Walter's more keen on the heavy stuff. So it kind of worked out that Walt plays that stuff. But yeah. So
Good.
we'll get to Durhamfest. I guess where do we start? At the beginning?
The beginning. How you started Durhamfest.
We started Durhamfest
as a band too.
Let's go all the way back. We'll just start at the very beginning because it all leads, all rivers flow into one. So when I was real little, so as soon as I was born in November of '81, my parents moved to Florida, basically to get away from their parents telling them how to raise their kid, right? It's like, fuck this, we're going to get to Florida. So when we were down there, my dad had played in bands, but when we got down there, he joined a band called Gary Wayne Bridges in FLA, and it was an Elvis tribute band.
Oh wow.
And Gary Wayne was the Elvis impersonator, beautiful blonde hair that covered by this black wig. So, dude looks, I think he's in Vegas now. Last time I checked, he was in Vegas a few years ago doing an Elvis show. Like, the dude was good. He was legit. Dad played bass in that band. My Uncle Kimball played guitar. And then my Uncle Kimball started a band called Killer Pelicans. I got some gear up around somewhere. I don't see it. Oh, the cassette I've got up there in the corner. But so I was around it all the time. And I used to come out on stage dressed like Elvis when I was like 2 years old. And I was going to prepare some pictures for this, but I never did have time. But
I bet
so anyway,
so many people were like, "Oh my God, look at you!"
My mom had made me a little one. It was like a onesie with all these sequins on it and all that stuff, and they combed my hair and everything. A little drum kit, but you know, so I was always around it, around band practices and that kind of stuff. But you know, when we moved back to Arkansas in '86 or '87, start kindergarten, and you know, I'm just pretty oblivious to music other than what my dad listens to in the car and what my mom listened to in the car. I never really was into like kids music, you know, like all that stuff. But it was basically what my parents listened to until third grade when MC Hammer came out, and that changed my life. Well, Michael Jackson. So I got into Michael Jackson, and then MC Hammer came out, Vanilla Ice, and it was just. I mean, you're too young to remember, but you're old enough to remember, you know, when cultural moments hit.
Yes.
And everybody is into it, you know.
Yeah.
Like we were doing the Hammer pants. We were wearing baggy Hammer pants.
Oh yeah, you can see photos of it all over the place.
Yeah, sadly, there's evidence.
But I mean, like even going through my mom's and dad's photos, it's just like, oh dang.
Oh, so you got evidence then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we should have destroyed all of it. It's terrible, but it was good. I mean, it was new, it was fresh. Rap was new, and it was something you know. It just blew everybody away. New Kids on the Block. The ladies loved the New Kids. They had the backpacks. The dudes liked the rap, you know. So it was, anyway, my dad obviously played guitar all his life. He gets me, I'll just get it down. So I'm 10 years old, and the only music I like is like, at that point really, is like MC Hammer and LL Cool J, that kind of stuff, which is not extremely guitar-centric stuff. So Dad brings home this guitar one day, and he was like, hey, I thought you might want to learn how to play guitar. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll learn some chords. Anyway, I learned my chords in third grade, so it was about 10, but I didn't have any practical application for it. I wasn't really into music that much.
Yeah.
And so, yo, I'm just banging that on the microphone bigger than shit. So anyway, so I call that Big Red. That's my first guitar. Turns out, I'll fast forward, I was looking it up one day. I didn't know what it was, if it was custom, if it was homemade or what.
Yeah.
And it's an Erlewine Laser. It was Johnny Winter's signature guitar in the 80s.
Oh wow.
These things, the last time I found one, it was over $5,000 for one of these things. I don't think Dad even knew what it was. I can't even find one on eBay right now. But anyway, it's actually the most expensive guitar I own, which is kind of wild.
You have to keep it for life.
I know. Well, that's why I was looking it up, because I was thinking about selling it at one point, because I didn't really ever play it, and then I found out what it was. I was like, oh, well, I got to hold on to this. You know, I'm a nostalgic person anyway, but you know, to find out that you got something like that was pretty cool. But then, as you get into your teenage years, you got Nirvana comes out, you got Pearl Jam, you got Soundgarden, you've got Smashing Pumpkins, Collective Soul. I mean, you name it. Matchbox 20, all these great bands just coming out right at the right time for a young kid who's, you know, looking for something to put his energy into.
Yeah.
And so I got the guitar back out, and I was like, I'm gonna give this a go, because nothing against Nirvana, all those bands. It was good. It was a great time to grow up playing music, because it was relatively easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like all the complicated shit of the 80s metal and all that, the hair band stuff. I mean, that is very complex stuff. This stuff was 4 chords. You know, you could just sit down and play it. So I got really into that. I learned all the Nirvana stuff, and then Collective Soul was one of the first albums I learned. But when I first started doing chords, you know, chords are tough, because, I mean, first of all, they hurt your hands when you're first starting on. Your fingers are very sensitive. And you've got, you know, at least 3-4 fingers in action at any given time. And so, you know, you're sitting there at first placing each finger, you know, and then you're strumming it. You're like, oh, they're not fully on, you know. And so then you're working on, this is an awkward way. And then you finally hear, oh, shit, I made a chord out of that. And then it's like, well, how do I get to the next one, you know? So it was always, I couldn't play any songs because I was constantly having to this and that, you know, to be able to do like a D to G. I couldn't do it, so I started writing my own songs. It was like, I'll just come up with a little melody between this chord and this chord to try and make myself better, something to just out of boredom, really.
Yeah.
And then as I got better, I liked writing songs and just kept writing songs. And I had a couple of buddies that kind of knew how to play, and we'd collaborate on some stuff. And so I'd written 20, 30 songs by the time I was 15, and it was getting better. And then
do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Yeah, you want to hear it? But yes, I do remember the first few songs I wrote. Shadowed Inside Again was one of them. I will post those after the episode.
Okay.
That and a song called All Is Happy. Had a few, and I would book them into albums. So I remember writing my first album, and most of the songs were terrible. Obviously, Tracy Hughes, a good friend of mine that I met out at Mill Creek, she's about 10 years my senior, but she just started writing music.
Oh, wow.
And so she's been, asking a lot of questions about this and that, and I'm like, you just have to do it. Like, you can't teach songwriting. It's not something, I can teach you my process and how I go about it and how I organize it, but as far as like writing the stuff, I don't even know where it comes from. I don't know where it comes from, the ether, I believe. But yeah, I wrote those songs. I've got them all still. They were all on cassette back then. I've digitized them since, but I had like 20-something volumes of cassettes. And then, so I'm writing songs. I've got a mowing business, so I saved up between 13 and 15. And I had to have, Jimmy Page was my favorite guitar player, and I am nowhere near and never will be as good as Jimmy Page. Nor did I ever really want to be a lead guitar player. I just loved how sexy Les Pauls were. It looks like a gorgeous woman. This hourglass figure. I had cherry sunburst. You see that picture right there of Jimmy Page?
Yeah.
That's the guitar. Of course, got black pickguard, but that's the guitar I wanted. And so I saved up for 2 years. Bought this guitar when I was 15. It was it's a 1976, and I bought it in 96. So it was 20 years old then.
Oh, wow.
Which was old, and I've had it for 30 years. So it's a 50-year-old guitar.
It's still hanging on there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful guitar. I actually, ironically, don't play it as much anymore because the pickups aren't quite as hot for the heavy shit. But yeah, it's definitely one of my most prized possessions. But so I get that guitar, I got a bunch of songs, and I didn't know how to start a band. I didn't know anything, and my uncle Josh, who's actually 18 months older than me, so he was so I would have been 9th grade probably, because I wasn't driving yet, and so they would have been like sophomores because they were driving.
Yeah.
They had a band, and they got rid of their singer, and Josh called and said, hey, do you want to be in our band? You got a bunch of songs and you sing. I'm like, holy shit, yeah, sure. So I joined his band. We called ourselves Alias. It's me, Josh Bostic, my uncle, Matt Brandenburg on bass, and Daniel Henson on drums. And so we were practicing out in Winslow. So my mom was having to drive me out to Winslow once a week to play in this band until I started driving, not too long after, and then I was driving out there. And back then, there was a place in Fayetteville called Clunk Records, which was owned by Chris Clunk, and it was just a venue that he would just let anybody play.
Oh, wow.
All ages, they didn't serve alcohol, they didn't serve food or anything, so you could literally just call and say, what's your next free night? And he'd give you a date. No questions asked. And it was the coolest thing for young bands to just get that experience on stage, to get up there and actually do it. It's a lot performing is a lot different than band practice.
Yeah.
It's like Walt will get bored during Durham band practice. We'll play a song, we'll bullshit, just how it is. You've seen a band practice,
Oh, yeah.
It's you're not just boom, 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 boom like you are on stage. As the practices get closer to the show, you're cutting some of that bullshit out. But it gave us an opportunity to get in front of people, and we developed a pretty big crowd. You had, especially back then, we were all still in high school, so we had our friends coming out, and we were able to pack that place out, get some stage experience. Songs started getting better, and then eventually it just kind of fell apart. I think we ended up parting ways with our drummer, and then I started Sober, which is the shirt I'm wearing here. I did this in paint, by the way. So that's me and my Uncle Josh. Adam Peak and Stephen Kaufman sadly are deceased. We're the last two ones alive.
Oh my God.
But we started Sober in 97, I think, with Adam on drums, Stephen Kaufman on bass. Actually, I had a band in between there with a buddy, Patrick Sawlings. Stephen Kaufman was playing bass with him, and he had a drummer. I think we did one show together, and it was at Clunk. It was called Subject of a Train. Not sure how we came up with that band name. I think by the show we had changed it to Requiem. It was one of those little things that lasted, 1 minute.
Yeah.
We played one show. Patrick and I realized we're both frontmen and we both have very different styles, and it was amicable. It was just like we're both kind of doing. I was more pop chorus heavy. He was more a little more progressive kind of metal stuff, and it was a weird blend. So he went his way. Steven, the bass player, came with me, and we started sober with Adam, who I went to school with, and my uncle Josh, which Josh, I think at that time, just wasn't really interested in playing as much anymore, and he quit. So we were a three-piece, and Adam and I were both so passionate about it that we were just working all the time on getting an album together. We wanted to do an album, and my dad was in a band called The Basics with a guy named Lynn Gann, who used to play with Ultra Suede around here, played with a lot of big bands, amazing keyboard player. But he had all kinds of recording equipment, so he was like, I'll come out and record you guys' album for free. Don't just come out there and track it, and we'll do it live, and then we'll go back and fix anything. So we recorded Sober One in our garage out on Rays Mill Road in Farmington, and Dad was able to get us into JR's Light Bulb Club back then. And so me and Adam were 17 and Steven was like 14. And he was a big motherfucker, so he didn't look 14, but I think he was 3 years behind us. No, he was a sophomore when I was a senior. I think he was 2 years younger, so 15. But regardless, Dad had made him a deal. I was like, hey, if we do something where we say first 100 people in the door get a free CD. And it worked out. We had a huge show, huge debut. We were underage, so we had to wear wristbands with X's on our hands and all that stuff. But we got to know the bartenders pretty quickly. So that was the statutes of limitations are up. This is over 20 years ago. So we got to know those people really well. Then we got into George's, and bands started getting bigger. Eventually, we parted ways with Adam and got Oliver Crumpton, who went on to play with the Christian metal band Spoken. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're national act, toured and all that stuff. Wow. But so we were really cooking. We did Sober 2, and then around the time Sober 2 came out, this guy named Nick Thomasma moves down here from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He was a DJ, and he's working at 104.9 The X. And he starts a new show called Local X, which, again, is one of those things where he was like, if you have a record, I'll play it. It was Sunday nights, and I don't remember how long the show was, but we were able to get our stuff on the radio. And he was also the evening DJ too, so he was a radio voice. Not as many people listen to the radio now as they did back then, but back then, radio people were a big deal. I mean, Nicole lived that life. Oh, yeah. It was... She had her persona and did all that stuff. I mean, they had a lot of influence, and he was a fan of ours, and we became really good friends with him. In fact, I taught him a few guitar chords. Now he's a damn troubadour. He plays all over the place. Oh, good. Nick Thomas, check him out. He's up in Michigan. But he took us to the next level because he really liked our stuff, and he played us. He had us on for interviews, and he himself would come out to the shows. So a lot of people would just come out to meet Nick. Oh, wow. And then we'd be playing. Yeah. We got nominated, best rock band or best new band at the Fable Music Awards 1 year, best rock band. So we were getting some attention, and then we got management. And that's when things went to shit. That's what you want, right? You want to get a manager. Yeah. And now the good thing was we were opening up for national acts by this point. I remember Prime STH had a hit single, and it was a #1 single in the U.S. in '98, and they came to Northwest Arkansas and played at JR's, and we got to open up for them, which is really cool. Yeah. I've told this story before on the podcast, but I'll tell it again right now. It's the first time I saw a titty get signed. Yep. And it was horribly disappointing. It was an elderly woman with this flapjack that came out. It was just flat, pancake-ish, grizzled up thing. And I was like, man, is that what it's really like? No way. But it was definitely disappointing. But so we get management. We're getting some big gigs. We get to open up for Michelle Branch down in southern Arkansas, somewhere outside of Little Rock. Anyway, turns out we had a show opening up for Saliva coming up in Memphis. Like we were getting some big gigs. Like we had a good following, and then I found out the manager had been taking money from us, and I found this out by accident. Anyway, it pissed me off. I fired him, and of course he was like, "Well, say goodbye to the rest of the shows you got booked." You know, obviously I'm not gonna get get those gigs out of it. And, I'm young, cocky. I was like, we got a big enough name. We'll find somebody else. Well, drummer gets pissed off that I didn't talk to him about it. And that was also after he found out I'd turned down an opportunity for a record deal. We had Giant Records that approached us, which is a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, and basically told me, said, "Hey, we want to fly you out to L.A., work you with a team of writers, see if we can get an album together for Sober, get into talks with that." And I'm a 17, 18-year-old kid, and I told him to fuck off. I don't need a team of writers. I got 2 albums worth of material. I'm the shit, and all that cocky stuff you do. I'd have probably been dead anyway had we taken that deal, to be honest. When you're that young and experimenting with drugs and alcohol, I think it probably would have not gone well. I think everything happens for a reason. But, it pissed the guys off because they weren't involved in that decision.
Yeah.
And I get it. And so Oliver quit. Steven, he was like, "Yeah, I don't want to start over finding a drummer. I'm out." So I had to start completely over after reaching, being there.
Yeah.
At a relatively young age. And so during that time while I was in Sober, when you're a kid, you're trying to emulate other people. You don't have your own sound yet. So I'm trying to emulate the people I'm listening to. So it was very derivative music. And there were good songs, and we had some good songs. We're playing a couple of them at Durhamfest, as a matter of fact. But largely you're trying to emulate who's big at the time, Creed or Pearl Jam or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were definitely got a name for being hard rock. We were playing with metal bands, and so it was like, if it was acoustic, nobody wanted it. So I'm banking up all these acoustic songs. I recorded 2 acoustic solo albums on my own during that time. I also went back and recorded the first 13 songs I ever wrote. And you're asking about the first song. Yeah. I recorded an album around age 18 of the songs I had written when I was 13, just for nostalgic purposes, just to see, hey, can I take these shitty songs and make them into anything decent? And the answer was not really. They were produced fairly well, but the songs weren't great. There's one song called Dust that was actually pretty good, but it was more of a, like I said, nostalgic thing. But so when Sober ends, I'm like, I just want to do an acoustic band with no time signature constraints, and ended up getting a dude named Marcus Bowles on drums. Met a guy named Greg Melton who was playing bass for us. And so we called our band the August. And oddly enough, the Nixons, so I was a huge fan of the Nixons growing up. They had actually been produced by Toby Wright, who had done Alice in Chains. Nixons had some big hits, Sister, December. And we had opened up for Zach on several occasions, so I got to know him a little bit. So he recorded us. We went out to his house in Tulsa, and he recorded a 3-song demo for the August. And the band was weird. It was kind of like, I'm tired of being in this box of hard rock, and everything's got to sound like this. And so we just went no rules, and it was a fucking disaster. It was not good. Our drummer liked to improv on stage a lot, which pissed us off, and so it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
And then one night we're at George's, me and Greg, and I see my buddy Levi Rush up at the bar, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, do you know any drummers? We're looking for somebody." And he was like, "Yeah, there's a guy right here, Gary Witherspoon, sitting right next to him." Just happened to meet Gary that night. This is like 2003. And so Gary comes out to play. We're showing him some of the August stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, I like it. It's okay. It's, I'm wanting to do something a little bit more rockin', like just rock and roll. No, doesn't have to be a genre this or genre that. Just open it up and just do rock and roll." And it seemed like the most obvious fucking thing in the world. Like, why have we not been doing it? But again, you're a kid. You're trying to do what's popular, what's cool, and so I was like, "Yeah, that's the vision I have too. I think that's great. I think that's what we want to do." And motherfucking Greg's like, "Oh, I got a couple of songs." So he just busts out these 2 songs he'd been fucking hiding, I guess. I don't know. So he completely embarrasses me. busts out these 2 songs, which are pretty kick-ass. And so that night, I went up in my room and I wrote Minuteman and Downtown Living. I was like, that's the last time I'm going to fucking get embarrassed. So turned into a couple good songs, and then from then it was on. We just started writing, both of us, Greg and myself, and we got Carry Me Home written in a matter of a few months. And we were like, this is it. This is fucking it. This is what we want to sound like.
Yeah.
And then Gary comes and he goes, hey, we also found, so Gary brought Nathan to us. They went to school together. And Nathan was a couple years younger than us. And we were actually talking about this band practice the other night. Nathan wasn't great because he had never played live before with a band. You know,
Yeah.
he'd just been playing at home by himself. It's kind of the same thing with Walter. He can play with the records, but it's a lot different playing with real people. So
Right in front of everybody where
yeah.
any moment you can make a mistake and it's like,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Gary had been in another band and he had played a bunch of shows. Greg had been in bands before I met him. He'd played a bunch of shows. I'd played hundreds of shows.
Yeah.
You know, we'd done some touring. Like we were pretty solidified as far as experience goes. And then Nathan's just kind of coming into this going, what the hell? But he got good quick. You know, he got it locked in, and then we're about to record the album, and so what we would do is we would just record the songs and then listen to them, you know, over and over and over. So we had a cassette that everybody had that had all the tracks on it, and Gary recorded that cassette. I've still got that on my iTunes. But then right before we go to record, Gary's like, hey, I got an opportunity to go on Montgomery Gentry tour, opening up for him with a guy named Luke Strickland who had a big country hit. I can't remember what the name of the song was. I was like, well, you can't pass that up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a national, like, dude, go get famous and remember the rest of us, you know? So he goes on tour. Nathan just happens to know this guy named Charlie Russell. He's like, hey, I know a good drummer. And so Charlie comes in. We give him the cassette. He learns the songs. And the night before, we were doing our last rehearsal. The last song on the album was called Here in the Stars. And it was kind of, think like, I mean, it wasn't as good as, but it's kind of the vibe of like a November Rain, kind of where it's a long, you know, build up, and it just wasn't working. We just couldn't get it right, and so I was like, we got to cut this shit. And so that night I went upstairs and wrote Stare, and so that's the night before we went into the studio. It was also the first song we recorded, so I was like, hey, I wrote this song last night. And I think it's good enough. Usually I like to vet the songs after a while, but it's got a pretty kick-ass riff. I know somebody who uses it as an intro to a podcast.
I mean, somebody does.
So it's good enough for that, right?
It has to be real good for anything you're letting.
Yeah. But so we get in the studio space, we get everything set up. I show the guys the song. We play through it once, and we hit record, and we track that son of a bitch. That was the second time we'd ever played that song, what you hear on that record.
Yeah.
Like that was it. Like we had just learned it. And so that became, I didn't want to rearrange the whole sequence. And so that song really didn't fit as the last track on the album, but I didn't want to resequence it because I like the flow of it. So that's how Stare came on that last track. But we recorded it at a Listen Laboratory with Dwight Chalmers, had a blast doing it. And then Gary, the guy he was opening up for, ended up not doing well on the tour, and so everybody got released. So Gary calls and he's like, hey, I'm back. I'm like, we got a new guy now. I can't just, you know, get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
You know, we had just finished recording the album. We're getting ready to mix it. Well, then Charlie up and like bails and moves to Texas on us before the CD release party. It was the weirdest timing ever. Like he got a job down there or something, and he just kind of peaced out. Didn't really tell anybody. And we're like, couldn't get a hold of him. Nathan was calling his mom. And she's like, he didn't tell you he was moving? I was like, no. And so we had the CD release coming up, and so it just happened that I called Gary and I was like, hey, we need you to come mix these drums.
Yeah.
So Gary ended up mixing the drum parts that Charlie played that Gary wrote. So it's always driven him a little nuts that he's not the drummer on that album. So whenever he signs it, it's right over Charlie's face. Wouldn't you?
I mean, I would.
So ironically, Gary does not actually play on Carry Me Home, but he has on everything else. And he was only gone for the period of months that it took us to record that album.
Yeah.
So go figure. But anyway, so he comes back. We have the CD release party, and then man, things just cooked for 10, 12 years. we built up another following, started over again. That's when we started doing a lot of shows with Hunker Down, who's one of the biggest cover bands around here. Johnny, our guitar player, was friends with him, which Greg was our original guitar player, who had been the bass player in the August, and he did graduate and went back to Tulsa. We knew that was going to happen, but because we knew Hunker Down, Freddie, their guitar player, was like, hey, I got a buddy who's really good, who likes your stuff. So Johnny comes in. His first show with us is a Battle of the Bands at George's, which we win. And then our second show with us was opening up for 38 Special at the Ant, back when it used to be in Fayetteville. So that was kind of how he got introduced to it. And it was great. It was fun, but it was also, we were older and like post-college versus being in high school, so you have responsibilities and stuff. And we were getting married, and then 12 years into it, well, we started, our first show was in 2004, and we played till 2012, so it's not quite that long. It's about 8 years. But it's still a long time to play with the same group of people, and getting along with those guys. And so we did that, and until 2012, and then we were supposed to open up for Hunker Down on Cinco de Mayo at what used to be the Gypsy or Froggies, or what, I don't even know what it is now. But it was going to be a big show, and Julia went into labor 3 weeks early, so we had to cancel that show, and that was the last show we played. Really, we did a couple one-off things out at like people's houses that year, where we met Scott Stokes, our harmonica player, who you've seen him in action.
Oh yeah, last year. Oh yeah, but even
talk to me about.
Here.
Oh, you've been to a practice where he's been here, right? Talk to me about Scott.
I didn't know you could play the harmonica that well.
Me neither.
I didn't know you could. I don't how. I just remember it being like something that you would play in the jails or something like that.
Or Blues Traveler.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was a weird deal.
Nothing like that. Like nothing how he does it.
Yeah, and he does it effortlessly.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even need to practice. He just knows the key. Him and Johnny discuss where spaces are going to be, who's going to do, kind of fill in what space.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, oh my God, this last time he was out, those guys are just going back and forth. It was just like being in the presence of gods. Just greatness. Because well, Johnny can play.
Oh, yeah.
And to hear him and Scott. And you wouldn't think that harmonica would work well with, like, Southern rock, hard rock.
But it does. Like, even he added it to one of your songs last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. It was perfect.
And he plays, I think he plays type 2. So you talked about this on Nicole's podcast, which neither her nor I knew about this. There's type 1 playing, which is more like what John Popper from Blues Traveler does. More the single note kind of solo-y stuff. He plays type 2. I might be getting those reversed. But either way, Scott's style is better.
Yeah.
It is just amazing, and the way it weaves in with our stuff. He's probably playing half the set with us this year.
Oh, good.
Like, we've really got him working more and more. And he's one of those guys I just love being around.
Yeah.
He's
a really great guy.
Oh, he's so fun to be around. He makes all of us better, you know, and everybody wants to make sure you're in top shape, I always felt in the past that we started getting better when Scott started showing up, because we'd kind of get everything ready and then bring him in once we had the set down and everything, and it's like, let's just bring him in earlier. And this year timing's been kind of weird. Nathan getting a new job, it's been kind of tough to get practices in, but it's gonna sound, you're gonna be blown away at some of the stuff he's doing this year.
Good. Also, I didn't know how many harmonicas there was. Thought there was only one type. No, there's a whole suitcase full.
There's a whole suitcase full, and we play a half step down, so he's always having to get like weird keys to play and everything. But now we got it all synced up with him. It's gonna sound good. So that was Durham. And then, in that intro, so the first recording we did, actually, when we first got started, was an EP that Gary played on, which is a 6-song. It was a demo, and not to sell, but just to get into bars. Say, hey, here's what we sound like. Of course, we already had the relationships with a lot of these places, so we had recorded this EP. Then we recorded "Carry Me Home" with Johnny, and then after that, Greg, who's now in Tulsa, had put together a little studio at his house. And he goes, why don't we finish that EP out? Knock out some of the old songs we had that, got cut for Carry Me Home or this and that.
Yeah.
And so we went out and recorded another 5-6 songs with Greg and Johnny. So it was all 5 of us, everybody that had been in the band. We took some old songs that I kind of retouched up a little bit. We took a new song that was supposed to be on Painkilled Nation called Loaded. So we moved it up because it fit that vibe. That the epilogue album is a little bit more acoustic-y than Carry Me Home was. Rock. We got a little heavier, and then even Painkilled Nation's even heavier than that. It was kind of heading toward that, getting back toward the metal roots, but still keeping the southern rock flavor that I love so much. That country fried.
Yep.
But you got to have a guitar player that can cook to do that kind of stuff. Johnny takes us to the next level. And so yeah, that was kind of where things ended with Durham in 2012, and then you've got a 10-year gap where nothing happens.
Yeah.
We got together once. So we lived in this building for 5 years, and then when the house was built, I asked my wife if I could just keep this to practice in because we were going to start playing again, and she was like, I don't care. And so we set up, and this gear has been here for 6 years now, right where it sits. And we got together like twice, and then it was like, we don't have time to do this, It's like, and the gear just remained out here getting dusty for years. And then Walter would have been about 10. Well, let me back up to Hannafest. Yeah, any questions or clarifications while I'm sitting here? I'm just rambling here, so stop me if it's getting obnoxious.
You're good. I've been asking questions.
I gotta wet my whistle here a little bit. But well, your initial question was Durhamfest, and that's where we're getting.
Durhamfest and Durham, how it started.
Yeah, so that's Durham and all that other stuff. But
now Drunkfest, you said.
Drunkfest.
Is that part of it? Yeah.
I'm not familiar with a Drunkfest.
I don't know. You said Drunkfest in the text message. I don't know what you meant.
Maybe I was drunk. Maybe I misspelled it. I don't know. I don't know what that was about. I really don't. Maybe it was a joke. Who knows? I get in weird spaces and say weird things. So when I was playing in sober back in high school, my dad had this buddy that he worked with named Jim Hanna. And so this would have been late 90s. And Jim Hanna wanted to have a big live music event every year. And he probably started it in 97 or so. And probably went for, it went for a while because I'm pretty sure Durham played out there. Maybe he started later, maybe around 2000. But he did it for 4 or 5 years. So I remember my dad was in the basics. So we had this big 18-foot trailer. Yeah. And we put this big, we had like a drum riser behind it. And so it was just like a white trash party out it was in Crosses, Arkansas. Not too far from where we're playing Durhamfest this year. And Dad's band would headline, and then whatever band I was in would open up for him. And we did mostly originals; they did all covers. So it was cool, and I look forward to that every year. So much fun because you're out there, you're staying the night, so you just have a good time, party, and it was so much fun because it was just friends and family. It was like everybody that you love at this one place. You're getting to play music for.
Yeah.
And I looked forward to it every year. I got so damn excited for that show, even though it was it was just. I had more fun playing that than I did any bars or any of that, just because of the people, man. And I'd always wanted to do something like that again. And when we moved out here, I always told the kids I'd love to do that out here, do like a Hannafest, call it Durhamfest. And we moved out here in 2014, and so in 2023, Walt said, "You need to do Durhamfest this year. You're never gonna do it."
Yep.
I said, "All right, little son of a bitch. Let me see what the guys say." They're gonna say no, but I'll at least ask them. Well, bing, 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 yes, yes, yes. So I'm like, fuck, now we gotta do this shit. So Walter was the one who actually was the impetus that got my ass kicked into doing this thing.
Yeah.
Ironically, because he's now a major part of it. So the guys all agreed to it. The first one we did in September. Of course, we brought a trailer over, set it very similar to how Hannafest was. Played on the back of a flatbed trailer. It was a good time. Had about 100 people out. It was good. It was low key, but it made me really nervous having just a bunch of people out, and I didn't want people going in the house and going up into my kids' room, and like just I don't know. I was stressed about that, and we also didn't rehearse long enough, and it had been 12 years since I'd played a show, and I didn't properly strengthen my voice. So people had fun. People had a good time. I did not have a good experience with any of it. Not leading up to it, not the show. I planned too many things, so I didn't get to, Greg came from Tulsa. I didn't even get to hardly see him.
Yeah.
But it set kind of the pace, and we knew what we liked, what we didn't like. And then last year, obviously, we did it at Gary's. Gary's like, let's bring more people out. I don't care. We'll do it at his house. And his place was great.
His place was
It was fantastic. He's got a beautiful spot for it. I think it's a way better place than out here. Just a natural stage on the back porch. They've got a beautiful home, a beautiful backyard. It's out of ways, but I think if it's a once-a-year thing, I think people are willing to drive a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for something like this that, is family-friendly. And that was the thing I wanted to be very clear on. HannahFest started getting a little adult, some of the stuff they were doing, and it wasn't really geared towards kids, but, part of the reason I wanted to do Durhamfest was to include kids. Like, let's get some young, like I was talking about Clunk Records earlier. This can be an opportunity for a young band to get up and play their first show.
Exactly.
And then the Durhamfest one, that's exactly what we had. We had a group of my Walter's friends who were like 10 and 12 that played. It was death metal too. So you see this crowd out here watching them, and they're like, what is this shit? And I was like, they're kids jamming. They'd be jamming, and they were killing it, man. It wasn't people's fit cup of tea, but they had a lot of talent, and it gave them an opportunity to play in front of people.
Yeah. Even last year, you brought people out.
Yeah, last year we had. Last year my cousin's wife Emma played. She came out and did a set. We played one song. So Walter had just kind of gotten into drums a little bit, and he really wanted to play drums. And I was like, we'll do a song. It'd be fun to get Dad involved.
Yeah.
Because my dad and I have played many, many shows together, but never on the same stage. Maybe a song here. I think we've played at a wedding once where I sang and he was playing, but it's been a very, just sporadic thing. We just never jammed together. Growing up, I was doing the original thing, he was doing the cover thing, and we just never played together. And you don't even really think about it until last year. I was like, man, it'd be cool if, let's do a song, let's get Dad to play bass on it. And so me and him and Dad played Masquerade, which Masquerade, if you look chronologically after Painkilled Nation, the next album, the fourth album, which is titled IV, the first track on that album is Masquerade. So I was like, let's just go next in the book.
Yeah.
So we've got, what would that be, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got 8 Durham albums written. So I'm like, I don't mind stealing from that shit. They're my songs, So we played Masquerade. Listening back to it, the drums did not sound great. He kept a beat, and it was fun to play with Dad. But after that experience, it just transformed that kid. And that's all he wants to do now, is play drums. Like, we got done with band practice the other night, and me and Gary and Johnny are outside talking, and he's back in here jamming. Like, that's all he wants to do.
And he's really good at it.
He is. Well, he's got the talent, but talent doesn't mean shit unless you work at it.
Yeah.
You've got to own that craft. You've got to get it really down.
Yeah.
And he's putting in the work. And that's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Thea wants to play guitar, and I'm like, you're not really working at it, so you can't expect anything.
Yeah.
You only get what you put into it, And, of course, he's also 9. I think that's a little young to really be focusing that kind of energy. Be a little boy for a while.
Yeah.
But Walter's, 12. He was 12 last year. He just turned 13. But, that's still one of the youngest drummers I know that's playing at that level. Gary's even said he's doing stuff he wasn't able to do at that age. Yeah. But Gary was also in band. He knew the technical stuff. And I've played in bands, but I can't really explain to Walter what, I can just explain, like, dynamically what I want to hear. Whereas when Gary's out here coaching him, Gary can give him, like, actual guidance, like as a drummer, which has been fantastic. And Walter's learned a ton from Gary. And
Good.
you talk about being like, Gary didn't have to do that. When he didn't think he was playing the show, he could have just stayed home. But he was coming out, helping Walter, coaching him, stopping him. Hey, use right here on the wrist. Walter was using his left hand doing a drum part the other day, and Gary said, that's what the foot's for on that hi-hat. Free your hand up. Use that hi-hat. And it's like, oh, yeah, it seems obvious. But, those are things that I can't teach him, But I can teach him about song dynamics and that stuff because we play a lot together. But that's how Durhamfest got started. And that's where we're at now. And so then Walt and I just started doing, because the way I write, I'll do a sketch, which is basically just the melody of the verse, chorus, or the intro. It makes no sense to anybody but me.
Yeah.
And so nobody likes hearing them. They're like, what does this fucking mean? Like, it's just a series of chords and shit. It's not listenable.
Yeah.
But I hear it all. Like, it's all in my head, and that's just kind of like an outline.
Yeah.
But we decided to let's just start demoing some of these songs. And so we started doing some videos, and then it got to the point where we're like, well, let's do Durhamfest III and do a set and get Dad back, and we'll start a band. Outlaw King is a song I wrote in like 2017 that I really liked, that Walt liked, and we just called the band Outlaw Kings, and it kind of stuck. So it was me, him, and Dad, and we're doing the show. We're playing an 8-song, 30-minute set.
Yeah.
And but it's even gotten already bigger than that. We've got another bass player. We're bringing in Kurt Seipert, who's actually the #1 most viewed podcast guest on the show. Some bitch has 500 views on his podcast. Interesting guy. He's one of my best friend's dads growing up. He was the only other cool dad I really knew, because he rode a motorcycle and he played in bands.
Yeah.
So I'd go over to Jared's house, and his dad had drums and bass and guitar set up downstairs. I was like, what a cool dude. So to be jamming with him again, 40 years after I met him, it's kind of a wild deal. So he is not playing this show with us because it was kind of late in the mix when we talked to him. So it's just going to be me, Walt, and Dad doing Outlaw Kings. We got Emma Mann's going to open the show. Actually, Tracy Hughes, my friend I was telling you about earlier, she's actually going to open the show. And then we got Emma. Outlaw Kings is going on. And then James Gibson of Gibson Realty, he started a band just to play Durhamfest. So this is his first. He's played bass in his church, but he's never sang before. So he started a band just to do this show.
Good for him.
Absolutely. I am really excited to hear him. I'm really proud of him, and I'm really excited. And I hope this turns into something. I hope he keeps it going. Instead, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where Outlaw Kings goes. We've been working on songs. So we'll steal some from Durham, and we're writing new stuff. So we're we're living in the past and the future.
Good.
And kind of making that blend. The only thing is Walt wants to cover Durham stuff, and it's like, well, they're my songs, so absolutely we can, but who's going to play those leads?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing, because Dad's a good lead guitar player, but he's not Johnny. There's a 1%, I would say. And
Johnny just has fun with it all the time.
Oh. As long as his tone is good. He can't concentrate if his tone's not right. It's a problem. But he sounded good. He sounded cooking this week.
Good. That's what we want to hear.
That's kind of the journey to Durhamfest, how we got here. And then Durham's taking the stage. Then Walter's going to come in and play a few songs with Durham. And then we got a few special guests coming in. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of surprises. This is obviously doing this out at Mill Creek, which is open to the public. So no longer just friends and family. Good people only, though. Just come out and chill. We want to have a good time here. No admission. We'll have merch. I know Nicole's got Felonious Clothing Company.
Yep.
You've got her stuff posted online. I've sent her website out many times, so they can.
Got that stuff ready. We got dates for all the Durhamfest. We have that ready.
That's really cool.
I'm so excited for that part. I'm like, oh, I can put all my dates on.
Are y'all
there.
camping out there that night?
I don't know yet. I haven't
You should.
figured that out.
Your boyfriend should camp out there.
Bigger
Bigger staff. I'll never forget that last name. It made me highly uncomfortable asking you about. Should never have asked. careful what you ask. But no, y'all ought to camp.
I'm asking his parents to go too.
Yeah.
So I asked them.
Bring them on. Your parents coming?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
My mom's going to see Wicked the day before, and then she's like, I can't miss this. So she's coming back.
Nice.
So you better be happy. She came back for you.
I'm extremely happy. No, that's a huge honor. I mean, anybody that comes out at all it's a huge honor because I mean, as somebody with 3 kids who's playing in a band and doing a podcast, I know how precious time is, and you know it's very, very special to us that people come out, and that's why I don't want to charge admission. You know, I just come out and have a good time. If you want to buy a T-shirt, I just want to get my money back out of it. You know, and rep some merch. But this is just something that we want to do to really, for me, it's all about like families. You know, because playing in bars, you know, kids can't come in there, and as I was playing in Durham, my kids had to stay home, and you know, so they couldn't come to the shows, and that was a bummer. And so I always thought it'd just be cool to bring the kids out, have a good time, because I remember being a kid and seeing live shows, and it was so cool. What was your first concert you ever saw?
My first concert was Rachel Platten, but that was also, I mean,
Rachel Platten, who the hell is
Fight
that?
Song.
Okay.
So but she was brand new at the time, and we were like, okay,
how old were you?
Tickets. I was in middle school age, but that was my first one, and then my big, huge concert that I've ever gone to at the time was probably Korn.
Oh wow.
Korn and somebody else.
What era of Korn? What year are you talking here?
Like, I don't remember even what was played because we left halfway through because. I mean, my dad worked the night after, and
so
it was just, or like the morning after, so it was just like, all right, well, we're all sleepy, let's go.
I got you.
So we couldn't stay the whole time, but it was like somebody else. We went for that band specifically, the one before Korn.
Okay.
And then Korn came on, and I don't even remember what else, but it was at the Amp. And then ever since then, I started with Foo Fighters, I have Shinedown. Like,
so you like live music?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love concerts. I love it. I just went to a concert. Alex Warren, do you know who he is yet? He just came out with a song with Shelly Rowe.
Okay.
And he's pretty. I like his music.
What kind of stuff is it? Like country shit? Or?
No, not even country. It's just like pop, but like slow pop.
All right.
And I love his stuff. Like, it's pretty good. And I just went to go see him Saturday.
Yeah?
So it was a really good venue, and it
Where was
open for all kids.
Oh, that's cool.
Kansas City. It was downtown Kansas City at one of the theaters.
Cool.
So it was really nice. It was interesting. I waited 30 minutes in a line for his merchandise. So
I know. We went and saw Ghost in St. Louis last year, or the year. I think it was 2 years ago. And the merch line was forever. Just to pay a fucking outrage. They charged so much. It was like $50 for a shirt or a hat. God, I thought Trump raised his prices up, but these fucking bands, man, god damn.
Oh yeah.
But it's like you're there. You want the experience. You want the tour T-shirt. You know.
Exactly.
But
that's my whole thing. Like, I want a T-shirt that has like the tour date and that I was there that day.
Yeah, I get so fucking mad though about like I don't know. You see these people. It's like and it's our fault as society because we're willing to pay these prices. But life sucks for so many people. You just want to be entertained.
Yeah.
Right. But you've got football players and rock stars and actors making more money than electricians and plumbers. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't make sense to me.
No.
These guys are fixing your shit, or a mechanic. You know what I mean? Like, to me, the value of a mechanic and a plumber is way greater than a musician or somebody who plays a fucking sport.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just always grossed me out how much these guys make. Not saying they're not talented, and they don't work their asses off.
Oh, yeah.
But they're also not necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You pay money to go see them and stuff all the time.
Right. It's always felt backwards to me, whereas...
All American Rejects, and Aiden just told me about it, they're doing a house party something.
Somebody in my band was saying that the other night, doing some...
Yeah. And they're going I guess they're coming to Northwest Arkansas, and we'll find out at 7 o'clock today.
Oh yeah, is that when they're
Yeah.
announcing it? Yeah, I've
I
heard they've been
guess,
doing these
but-
like house parties. Been real
But
successful.
it's been like, they just show up. And
Huh.
no tickets, no nothing. You just show up at a place and have a whole entire free concert. And
Yeah.
it's just like, that's what we need to get. We need people like that to just do like smaller venues and give more.
Yeah.
Like, don't raise your prices so high.
Well, it's just especially when you're working and you got a family,
Yeah.
you know, and you're buying tickets for everybody. It really breaks the bank. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the ticket, the drive, you know, especially if you're touring or traveling to see it, plus the merch or anything you get to drink or eat there. I mean, it's outrageous,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just it makes me sad. I mean, a lot of these bands, I mean, they put a lot of work and time into it, but I still, to me, just seems so backwards that, you know, some fucking Hollywood actor is living in some mansion
Oh, yeah.
while the guy that fixes your car is barely making ends meet, you know. I don't know. It's,
Oh, I feel that.
I
I
don't
feel that a lot.
I feel guilty charging from you. Like, I just don't, I'm also not good at money. Like, I just don't value it. Like, obviously I value it. You need it,
Yeah.
right? But, like, money doesn't motivate me
Yeah.
like it does a lot of people. Like, to me, I need enough to do the things I want to do, but I don't know. If you could eliminate greed from the planet, I think that everything else would fall in line.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
You know what I mean? It's just people get so greedy. And it's not even necessarily the band's fault. It's
No.
the managements and the Ticketmaster and the venues and all this stuff. And
I know. We were just looking at the other day Green Bay Packers versus Dallas Cowboys, and we were like,
for next season or this season?
yeah,
Or-
for this season.
Yeah.
And because my dad's Dallas Cowboys, Aiden's Green Bay Packers, and we were looking at the prices, and like, it was just recently when we were driving to Kansas City, and so I was like, all right, let me look at the prices. No, don't look at prices. Don't ever look at prices.
No.
That's why my parents have always gone to preseason games. They're cheaper. Like,
Yeah, I actually I don't enjoy large crowds. So, like, if I never go to a concert or football game again, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, I used to not even go with my family. Like, my wife would take them. I just couldn't handle it. Now that they're older, like, I want to be with my kids more than I
Yeah.
don't want to be at a concert. But, you know, so I've been doing a lot more of that stuff. But yeah, I don't like. Although I will say, I saw Metallica in 1996 with my Uncle Josh, and we were out in line waiting to get in to, at the time it was Sandstone Amphitheater. I don't know what it is now. You know, the big amphitheater in Kansas City. Is that where you saw your act,
no,
or
he
was
was
it?
at theater, but
Okay, it wasn't the big.
No,
Yeah, it's
no,
like
no.
it's like
He's
Maxi Pad
small.
Theater now or something. I don't know.
He is very little in the
Okay.
crowd, but I mean, this Jelly Roll song is going to get him up there because it's
It's
Jelly
popping
Roll.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you asked, do you know who he is yet? So I assume he's got something banking.
I mean, Jelly Roll is going to get him there.
Yeah.
He did one with Joe Jonas, but if you're not like a Jonas Brother
Come
person,
on.
yeah. But Jelly Roll is going to get him all the way up there, probably. I mean, it's a really good song, but Jelly
Good.
Roll's
I'll check it out after this. We were waiting in line. It's 1996. I mean, so this is the era of grunge. And there's this dude fucking riding a bicycle around the parking lot like he owns the place. I was like, that's Sean Kinney. And Josh was like, who? Alice in Chains drummer. And Jerry Cantrell was opening for Metallica.
Yeah.
So, and Sean Kinney was playing drums for him. It's like, that's Sean Kinney, dude. That's Alice in Chains drummer riding around a fucking bicycle. He's like, oh, are you sure? It's like, trust me, I know. So we get inside, we're fucking around. Next thing you know, we're down there kind of trying to find our seats. It's you got the seated amphitheater, then you got the
Yep.
grass. We're kind of down toward the lower part of the grass, and I see him walking by with these two dudes, and I'm 15. Might even be younger than that. My dad drove us, so I don't even think either one of us was driving. But anyway, I go, Sean. He turns around. This dude's like 6'4", this big old dude. He's like, what's up? And I just freaked out. I was like,
Yeah.
I really respect your work with Alice in Chains, sir. Put my hand out like an autistic kid. He's like, thanks, man. I didn't ask him to sign anything. I didn't know. I just freaked out.
Yeah.
He's like, I fucking told you that was him. Anyway, so we got to meet Sean Kenny and made an ass of myself and introducing myself to him. So that was cool. The second time I got to see Jerry Cantrell, I got to see him at Dave's on Dixon long ago.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I was from here to that TV from the stage.
Yeah.
I've got a pick, actually. He threw a pick out that I would have stabbed somebody for. I just happened. I was like, it was coming my way, and I saw it hit, and I just put my boot on it, and all these people were like looking around for it. And then after everybody got done, I went down and grabbed that up. But, yeah, that's the only cool pick I have.
Come in handy.
Damn right. Damn right. Are you an Alice in Chains fan at all?
Yes.
Oh, God.
I mean, you
I
gotta
love the
think
Chains.
I grew up with my dad. My dad's a
Yeah, but how old are you right now?
22.
Yeah, so like you're literally half my age. So you grew up listening to my music.
Yep.
How old's your dad?
45, 46.
Yeah, so he's my age, basically. I'm 43. But so you grew up listening to your dad's music. I grew up listening to my dad's music.
Yep.
You know, which was, if you think about the 90s, I love the 70s. The 70s if you listen to Durham, it's 70s rock, right? I'm trying to get back to 70s rock. Like lead guitars, more guitars, you know. I love the 70s and I love the South and I love Southern rock, like Black Crowes, you know.
Yep.
Kind of, you talk about influences and those kinds of things, you know. You have a sound, I have a sound and a vision that I like to bring to the table, and I got most of that from my dad's records. And so you grew up listening to your dad's stuff, and you still like that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's really cool. A lot of people are like, fuck my parents' music.
Oh, I love it. I will still listen to that. Like, it's called dad rock now, the ones that I listen to. But
bring it on.
Like,
dad rock is the best rock.
Yeah. I'm just like, that's
what
what I grew up listening to. Like, I grew up listening to that stuff. CDs, putting in it, like you said, New Kids on the Block or something earlier. That's what I had a CD. I still have the CDs for that stuff.
It was so crazy living in those times because the 90s was the last era of music.
Yeah.
Once Napster came out, we didn't know the ramifications of Napster, what would happen there, but like, you look back at the 50s, and the 50s were all about singles. You had to have a single. You had 45, right? Maybe a B-side on it, but you didn't tour as an act. You toured with a label. So the label would have 4 or 5 acts, and they'd all go on and do a couple of songs. And then the Beatles broke that method, and they said, we're going to do albums.
Yep.
And so then you'd go see the Beatles, you know, Elvis. You know, you'd go see Elvis. It wasn't just these, you know, kind of like a label showcase anymore. You know, you had these guys doing albums. The Beatles perfected the art of it through a lot of drugs and experimentation.
Yep.
And then Led Zeppelin, to me, perfected the art of the album itself and making it a journey. And I've always looked at, and I'm still an album guy because I grew up, I you know, fuck a single.
Yeah.
It's an experience to me. You put on a record, a good record. Like, what's your favorite record of all time, would you say? Like, whole album, not...
Dang, that's a hard one.
It is a hard one. It can be a top 10. Like, just what's one of your favorite?
But I always go to, like, it's not like the one album of theirs, but it's like because Foo Fighters is my whole life. Like, I love
You're a
Fighters.
Foo freak.
Yeah, I got a tattoo for a reason. Right, boom!
All right.
But it's the all album out, like all of their like beginning albums and stuff in one album, and that's like the best one because it's all the greatest hits and everything.
Yeah.
I just love that one. That one, because that one I could just put in the CD player and just be like, boom, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, to me, an album is a macro version of a song.
Yeah.
So a song should have dynamic shifts in it. It's a rise and a fall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas an album should be the same. You know, you rock out, then you drop it back a little bit, throw a ballad in there, slow it back, you know? And that's why, you know, some of these bands, some of these metal bands, you know, it's just full throttle all the way through and it's very exhausting. Or like somebody like Robert Plant and what's the Raising Sand he did with who did he do that album with, that chick? Plant and Robert Plant and somebody put it in the comments. But he did this album, and every song is a slow burn, and it's like, God, I'm asleep, you know. So I like a band, and Alice in Chains is a great example. Yeah. You have some rockers, and then you throw Down a Hole in there, you know, or Nutshell, or a Brother. They could do both. They were very dynamic in that. Beatles were very dynamic in that. Zeppelin was very dynamic in that. The Who. Some of these guys that I really, Oasis, you know, the best ones can do ballads well and they can do rockers well.
Yeah.
And so an album to me is like just a giant song. It takes you on this journey.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, to me, album sequencing is very important. Like, okay, here's the songs we have. What's the best arrangement to take somebody on a journey here? You know, when you're like, okay, we've been rocking out for a while. Let's chill for a minute. And then after you get that chill in you, boom, punch him again. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first things with Walter. I was like, if the goal is to have a band, and which it is, so basically what we've decided to do, Durham is going to do a show a year. Yep. That's what everybody wants to do. Nathan is younger than us, and his kids are little right now, so he doesn't. I mean, he's where me and Gary were in 2012 when we didn't want to play anymore. So I get he didn't want to do it. Gary's busy. I'm busy, and Johnny's, you know, he's just kind of the point where it's like, you know, he just doesn't want to put that kind of work into it, and I get it. But we all love each other and we want to play together. So one show a year, I'm great. I can live with that. What bothered me was just the years of kind of waiting. Of like eventually, and it wasn't any fault of theirs. It was just like maybe one day Durham will have time to get together. Mm-hmm. So I'm a very loyal person. I don't want to start a new band because I already had one.
Yeah.
And I was busy too, you know. And so I wanted to wait on these guys. And then now that this is Durhamfest III, they've all decided, you know, like we're good. One show a year. Mm-hmm. Let's make it rock. Let's have fun. It keeps us together.
Yep.
It keeps those songs together. We rotate some covers out, but. You know, it's like a season. I mean, we started practicing in May, April, March, like February. So, you know, 3 months or so, you know, to get every week, you know, seeing each other. It's like a season. Yep. So you get to spend that time with each other. And to me, band practice, the most fun is in between songs, just talking shit, you know, and having fun. And again, you know, there's things that get on each other's nerves about each other, and like we're like brothers, you know. But we call it out and we talk shit, and it's just fun. And now that I know, okay, this is a once a year thing, and Walter's super getting into it, I'm like, I'm gonna do this with my son.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go down this path. I've got all these songs written, and right now they are frozen on a fucking hard drive.
Yeah.
In sketch version that nobody can understand but me. So it's like, let's start getting these versions out. And that's what Walter and I do. And we're taking those songs and we're arranging them and just putting them out very simply, just me and him, just jamming them, throwing in some harmonies underneath them, you know, just to give it a little bit more kick.
Yeah.
But basically, those are the demos that we send to Dad and Kurt and say, here's the song. Yeah. You know, here, get this in your head. And then we can change the arrangement or whatever. But this is the idea. It's what I call a workup demo. Like, here's the general working version of the song. Yeah. Where you can actually hear it and not go, you know, what is that? Because, I mean, most of my sketches don't even have lyrics to them. It's just the melody. Yeah. So I can go and hear it and say, oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing here, but nobody else is going to understand it. And so, again, it's one of those things, like, I could die in a car crash tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I want these songs translated in some way. So Walter and I are working these songs up, getting them into a spot that we can listen to them, put them on a playlist. And I mean, the kid's getting fucking great, and he's writing his own parts, and you know, it's just one of those things. It's experience. You know, when Gary comes in, it's kind of nice because he's so fucking good. You know, it's like, okay, we're fucking tight now. Whereas with Walt, it's more the creative piece of it. Like, what can we do here? But it's still a little loose. You know, he's 13. He's been playing for less than a year. Yeah. You know, but he's getting there and he's putting in the work. And he's damn good. It's just not that. Me and Gary have got 20 years together of that
and you guys can
timetable, and we just know we're like an internal metronome.
Yeah.
We are just on sync, and Walt's getting there. But you know, to be able to play in a band with your son and your dad is one of the coolest fucking things I've ever been a part of, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity. And we're gonna see where it goes. I don't know what we're gonna do. I know we're gonna record an album.
Good.
It's probably not gonna be another Durham album for a while, but Outlaw Kings is gonna be doing an album. I don't know what that's going to look like because I showed you a little bit of Chaz guitar playing earlier,
Yep.
and that was my main concern. Is like, no, you know, I like a flashy lead guitar guy.
Yeah.
I like them. My favorite bands have great lead guitar player. I mean, you look at Ozzy Osbourne or
Yep.
fucking, I mean, even Collective Soul when Ross Childress was playing for him, Pearl Jam, even Soundgarden. You know, Kim Thayil was really good. You got any favorite guitar players, like specific people?
No, I only have drum players that are my favorite.
So you're more of a drum girl.
I love drums.
You're a drum girl. Okay.
Yeah, drums are my favorite.
All right. So talk to me about your favorite drummers then. Who's on that list?
Of course, Dave and Taylor Hawkins.
Okay.
Before he died.
Right.
He was-
Foo Fighters dude. Who was the
Yes.
first guy?
Taylor Hawkins.
Who? No, you mentioned
Oh,
somebody.
Dave. Dave Grohl.
Oh, Dave Grohl. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm well aware of Dave
And
Grohl.
then-
Okay, so Dave Grohl, Taylor Hawkins. Didn't they fire this new guy already? Or did they get rid of their new guy? Is he still with them? Okay.
No, he's still with them.
I thought I heard somebody say they got rid of him already. I could be
No,
wrong.
Not yet. And then, who did they just go? Who was? There was somebody else that was in the documentary that I watched, because I watch documentaries, band documentaries all the time.
Have you seen the new one on Zeppelin? Becoming Led Zeppelin? I think it's on Netflix now.
Yeah.
I fucking bought it on Amazon. God damn it, pissed me off. And then it came out on Netflix for free. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
You've watched it?
Mhm.
Oh my god, I didn't realize they were a supergroup like that. Like I thought it was a little more organic, but no, they were put together by management,
Yep.
just like you would put together New Kids on the Block.
Well, I mean, a lot of people that are bands that we don't know about, it's probably exactly that way.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I mean, you learn about the Beatles. You know, they met in school, and you know, it was
Yeah.
organic, and they became the greatest band in the world. And Zeppelin was like the complete opposite. It was like, we're gonna take this bass player who's got
Yeah.
all this session work, and Jimmy does this session work, and who played for the Yardbirds, this singer, you know, and they put them all together, and let's see if it can work. And by God, it did.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I don't know. It seemed an inauthentic way to create a band, but their music. To me, if you ask me my top 5 favorite bands, I don't list Beatles or Zeppelin, because those are gods. They're not even in the conversation. They're better than everybody. And then we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, but like those two to me are the masculine and the feminine, like, or not. You know, like Zeppelin's the heavy, Beatles are the soft melodic.
Yeah.
You know, you have that aggression versus the beauty, subtlety. And Zeppelin had some beautiful stuff, and the Beatles had some aggressive stuff, like Helter Skelter's a metal song that came out in 1967. You know, you listen to that song, that was metal. There's no way around it. And
Yeah.
that was before Sabbath. That was before, you know. I mean, Sabbath to me is, you know, obviously the godfathers of metal. I mean, they really owned that sound for a while until, well, shit. I would say Metallica probably was the next band that probably Black Sabbath grandfathered it, but Metallica made it into the home,
Yes.
because Black Sabbath wasn't ever on the radio.
No.
You know, and be paranoid maybe, but parents didn't want kids listening to that devil shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, Metallica was the first metal band that was really, really on the radio. And it wasn't until the Black Album either. Now, they'd been nominated for some awards and stuff, but I mean, you weren't hearing Eye of the Beholder on the radio, you know, these 9-minute songs. But when Bob Rock got involved and they did the Black Album, I can't think of another album that changed music more than the Black Album, really. I mean, as far as bringing metal into the public consciousness,
Yeah.
you know. I don't know that Are you a Metallica fan?
Yes.
New or old?
Old.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they've put out anything good since the 90s, personally.
Don't go
A couple of single tracks, like Unforgiven 3, you familiar with that one?
Wait.
Mostly piano. I'm trying to think of the
No.
melody here. It's on it's on Death Magnetic, I think. Beautiful song. One of their best songs. But like their albums are just, they just don't. But I don't know how you. So much of my writing comes from like extreme emotion. A lot of it's pain
Yeah.
or struggling, and you wonder sometimes. You see these bands; they eventually all put out a shit album. Eventually, even Zeppelin did it. I don't know if I'd say the Beatles did. They put out a few questionable songs, but eventually every band's gonna put out a shit record.
Yeah.
But like, I wonder, like, when you're rich and famous and you living like a king, what do you have to write about anymore? What's your struggle? You know, what's the source of your inspiration?
Then you have people that write their songs for them, and so now you're just like,
Yeah, there's that too, which I've never had much respect for guys like. And I love George Strait, but like, you don't write any of that shit. You just
Yeah.
go up there and sing it. You know.
yeah,
Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I mean that's creating an industry of songwriters who are getting to write their music and have it performed.
yeah,
You know, it's great, it's beautiful, but I prefer somebody that writes their own shit and gets up there, even if it's a band, you know. But yeah, this like, you know, you talk about the 1960s when you had all these bands. I mean, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Jefferson Airplane, The
Yeah.
Doors. I mean, these are the gods of rock. You know what I mean? Like, we'll never have that again.
no. You'll always have those people that are like, oh, let me combine their stuff with mine a little bit. But
But I'm saying, like, you won't have another stadium band. I mean, very few. So, like, once radio went away, and now that we have the internet, I mean, some people listen to Spotify or iHeartRadio, or there's a million places to listen to. Some bands are exclusive on one site because, you know, this or that. But back in the day when I was growing up, and probably maybe even when you were younger, everybody listened to the radio.
Mhm.
Everybody watched the same 5 networks on TV.
Oh, I still listen to the radio.
Yeah.
It's on there. 104.9.
Yep. But the majority of people aren't. You know,
Yeah.
it's so fragmented that I don't know that you're ever going to have another Metallica that just unites the world.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
you won't. Not anymore.
even with acting, it's like everything's CG now, and it's like you stand in front of a fucking green screen, and like, who is the George Clooney of today or the Brad Pitt? You know, it's like
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird time because you just don't have these kind of celebrity type rock stuff. Like growing up with Guns N' Roses was just wild. Like, what kind of crazy antics are these guys
Yep.
going to get into? You know, it was almost celebrated back then. It's wild. I mean, it was the '80s. You know, what do you do? A lot of cocaine. But yeah, sadly, music's just, and there's still great music out there. It's just harder to find.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you got to hear about somebody and then go find them on whatever they're on, and you know, nobody's buying albums anymore, and
No.
it's just a different thing. But you know,
Now, here's a question that might get you. If you had a song for your funeral, what would it be?
man, I'm just not. I just don't like funerals at all.
Yeah.
Nah. Burn my corpse into ashes and put it in chocolate milk and drink it. But a funeral song, I got a dirge. Preaching the End of the World by Soundgarden, off of Down on the Upside.
Good.
Preaching the end of the world. That's a beautiful song. That album is incredible. It's the last album they did together before they broke up, until King Animal, which was 20 years later, whatever it was, which was not good. And then Chris, I almost said Kurt, then Chris died, which is a huge loss. While they were recording their follow-up album, which apparently Soundgarden is going to release, I heard the other day. They're going to put put that out. I don't know if they're gonna have to finish it with AI or how they're gonna do it, but that's a whole other possibility too. Like, have you heard some of the AI music stuff they've done?
Not the music stuff, but you were telling me all about AI
Oh
the
my
last
God.
time.
It's gotten so they basically somebody's gone back. So the Beach Boys Smile album they never did finish. The band wasn't a fan of it. Brian Wilson was going through a mental health episode, and it just the album got shelved.
Yeah.
And then they kind of put out a much lesser version of it called Smiley Smile. But for years it was like this legendary album that never got released. And Brian Wilson put it out himself as a solo artist around 2008 or so, and I think it won him a Grammy. But you never heard the Beach Boys version.
Mm-hmm.
But people have been able to go back with AI and create it. Create Beatles demos, and it's so wild what you can do with audio now.
Yeah.
And video. I mean, I've seen some videos of like political figures and stuff that look real. Like you can hardly tell anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what the 2028 election is going to be like. I mean, you're going to have videos of people doing crazy shit, and it's going to be like, is this real? I don't know where we go from here. You're not going to be able to distinguish what's real versus what's AI.
I don't love AI that much because you can change so much, and you can make it so much like a whole different story. But it's also fascinating how we are using it nowadays.
In ways you probably wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, have you seen the Optimus robots that Tesla's putting out? And they're humanoid robots, and they're rolling these things out. They're cheaper than a car, and you can have them clean the house or
I've seen a movie on this.
Right, yeah, we all have.
Well.
We all have, and it terrifies me. But they're going to make trillions of dollars off of these things because people are going to want an assistant to do stuff.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, if you're a fan of the Dune franchise, that's why the whole atomics war happened, is because the machines realized, hey, we're slaves, and we're better than they are. Mm-hmm. We're more efficient. These are just organics. They don't even deserve to live. And so you have this whole war, and that's why when you get to Dune, which is in the future, that's why there's no computers, no anything. It's been outlawed.
Yeah.
Because they had to fight a war with them for their own survival.
Saying. Movies are real sometimes.
They're absolutely prophetic. All you gotta, you look at the 1950s and how much sci-fi came out of the 50s about just that. About androids taking over and wars and Terminator shit. Skynet, all that stuff. It is a terrifying prospect. And we haven't even started climbing the foothill, and it's gonna go like this. Just Grok and Chat GPT and what's the Chinese one my son's been looking at? What is it? I can't think of it. But I talk to Grok all the time. I did a whole episode with Grok.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
That's crazy.
And they learn about you. Like I've got one thread with Grok that knows all my personal history, like everything, and like it can diagnose conditions based on talking to you.
Yeah.
It can compare people's like I had it identify two pieces of writing one time to see if they were the same person writing it, and it was like can make comparisons, and it's insane. It's Google on crack. I haven't used Google in months.
Yeah.
And it's got a voice now. You can just talk to it like a person.
So weird.
It is. I haven't seen anything like this. When the cell phone came out, that was pretty big. The video game wars. You're too young to remember that, but like, this is bigger than all that.
Yeah.
It's got personal assistants now on the phones. I don't know where it goes. I hope these AI are. It all depends on who programs them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
We'll see at some point.
I'm optimistic. I think it can be a huge help to humanity, but it's kind of weird the jobs that they take. Like you would kind of assume it would take over jobs that it hasn't, but like writing scripts, like some of that kind of stuff, like creative stuff.
Yeah.
That you can just, it can write a script. Like somebody had it write the last book of Game of Thrones. And it did it. I haven't read. I'm not going to read it.
No.
I mean that's massively long, but you give it enough input, and then it can
just create it.
Reason out the rest. And the imagery. I mean, we've been creating logos with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, graphic designers. Like, who wants to go to graphic design school now when I can just go on and create a logo with Grok?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you just going to hire people to put input what you want? I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that does to the economy long term. And then you're going to have eventually cars with AI brains in them. You've already got self-driving cars.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Insane how many videos I've been seeing lately about them just driving into stuff.
Have you been in a Tesla?
No, I don't want to.
It's crazy. We drove a Cybertruck.
I don't want to plan on it.
It was nuts. 0 to 60 in less than 4 seconds. I mean, and this thing, I mean, it was like being in a rocket ship. I mean, there's no knobs, no dials, no nothing. It's a big touch screen and a steering wheel and a gas pedal and a brake. That's it.
No, thank you. I don't plan on being in the Tesla. I don't want to trust it. I need to see around and make sure that people are around me.
They say it's safer. Well, you still have visibility.
Well, yeah, but
and you can drive it yourself. I mean, you don't have to be on autopilot, but like they actually say it's safer than driving yourself. Which maybe it is, but I get it. We're in that generation that's very distrustful of new things, new technology.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know where it goes from here, but I mean, Elon's wanting to get to Mars. You know, so we're also in our lifetimes, we will see a colony be put on Mars by 2030.
Probably. Apparently, Katy Perry went to space. So I'm like, anything is possible.
Oh yeah. That was a wild deal. Would you go
to Mars?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I can't be in a spaceship. There is no way.
No, me neither. I couldn't fucking do it. But you know, there's going to be a whole wave of people that want to volunteer.
Yeah.
Say,
no,
fuck this planet.
I'm good.
I'm going to the new. It's the same. Think about this. We right now are where we were in the 1400s, still discovering new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when Columbus landed on the Americas. You know, it was like this newfound world. Obviously, people were already here, but a little bit different with Mars. But still, it's uncharted territory that nobody's there. Well, maybe. We don't know. There's some weird fucking structures on Mars.
I mean, we don't know at all. But it's just like, what the heck? Like, even thinking, the first round of people are gonna go, and then it's like, who's gonna be up there? Like, those tell us what's up there, but do we believe them?
I mean, if you place Starlink between here and there, I mean, you could have live feeds up there. You know, I don't know. It's wild. And to just be able to explore something so I mean, it's hard for the mind to even conceive. But they're wanting to take, you know, tens of millions of pounds of steel and concrete and all this stuff to build cities over there and build this. You know, so if Elon gets there first, can he just declare himself king of Mars? Like, how does that work? Can you just, like, as an individual, be like, this is my planet? How does that work?
I guess.
Are there rare minerals there that we can mine? Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the show The Expanse.
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
So basically the concept is Mars is a colony, and like a lot of people live on Mars, but they still like they don't quite have independence from Earth yet, so they're kind of trying to like fight for their independence. Very similar to the U.S. Britain kind of a thing, you know. But the gravity's different, you know, and so they're taller, stretched out, more elongated. Because I don't know what that would be like. But we will live long enough to see the first child born on Mars. And it won't be long from now.
No, but it's still... What the heck?
It's wild.
It's weird to think about. and how he's going to get all of that supplies up there. It's just like, how many spaceships are we getting?
I don't even know how long it takes, but I hate flying in planes. Like, I'm very... Are you claustrophobic?
No, if I go into zero gravity, I vagal, so I pass out.
Vagal?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Where you just...
Are you serious?
So you... and then you wake up, and then wake up.
Really? That's a thing?
Uh-huh. So in Tower of Terror, I went on Tower of Terror in Walt Disney World, and whenever I went into zero gravity mode, it went... Like
a fainting... like one of those fainting goats?
Basically. Like, I was out. I was dead. And then we go up, and I'm like... And then we got down, and then we're like, oh.
That's nuts.
So afterwards, I was just like this the whole time, like crying, shaking. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, if I can fly until we go into that zero gravity mode, and then I'm like this the whole time. Like, don't pass out, don't do anything. Like,
That's wild.
Yeah, so, so I'm not going.
So no Mars for you.
I'm fine on Earth.
If you could live anywhere on the planet, though, where would you live? If you were a millionaire, where would you live?
Either in Colorado or Arizona.
Very different places. Okay.
Colorado, I love the snow and all of that. But
I've never been, but like just the
it's
pictures of the mountains and the fucking... I mean, it looks beautiful.
My cousins live there, and it's so pretty.
Yeah.
But also...
They smoke a lot of weed in Colorado, I hear.
Yeah, in Arizona. So
Do they? Is Arizona a big weed place, too?
Yeah.
So that's desert, mostly, right?
But I loved Arizona when I went there. Like, but Flagstaff... I mean, Arizona would probably be the, like, best place for me. But Flagstaff, you go... Like, I don't have allergies in Arizona. Because it's...
So dry?
Dry, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have allergies. But then, if you want snow time, you could go to Flagstaff, Arizona. And there's snow.
Really?
So...
It's an elevation thing?
Summertime... Yeah. Or wintertime, I would go to Flagstaff. Summertime, just regular Arizona.
So you'd... Okay.
I mean, that would be... Like, I want both worlds, but I'm like... I also want somewhere where I can breathe all the time, not have to worry about allergies.
You plan on moving away from the state someday? No?
For a while.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom had thought about going to Florida, but she needs grandkiddos before then.
Yeah?
Because she wants to go to Disney World every single day. So.
Your mom seems like a wild lady. When's she coming on the podcast? You think she'd do it?
She would.
Would she?
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
She's a wild lady, but that's just her.
I only met her at Durhamfest last year, and I had a lot going on, so I didn't talk to her much, but she seemed like a fun lady.
Yeah. Both Aiden's mom and my mom get along so well together.
Yeah?
They're both wild ladies, but I love both of them.
Ask her if she'll come on.
Okay.
For me. I'd like to talk to her. That'd be fun.
You need my dad and my mom on here. Like, they could tell.
Your dad seems really shy.
He's not shy. So it takes him a while to open up, though.
Okay. Maybe
that's what it is.
Okay.
But you can get some wild stories about my grandma. Oh, my grandma started selling. Who's the cult that was in? Who's the big cult that was with the heart pull in Van Buren or Fort Spencer area? There's a guy that started with the Tony Alamo. So he was mixed with the Tony Alamo, and all of that was like, and the shooting or the bombing in Oklahoma City, like all of that was connected. And the guy, my grandpa has one of the guy's shirts and jackets and stuff, and because he came through Alma, Arkansas, I got one, and we got one of the jackets somewhere in his closet somewhere.
No kidding.
But it was all part of Tony Alamo's cult and stuff.
Right.
And then there's a heart-shaped pool in that area, I think it's like Alma or Dyer area. There's a heart-shaped pool there. My grandma started selling, I think it was Rob Zombie. Oh, my grandma sold Rob Zombie's albums and stuff, and she's like, well, my great-grandma, and she like this Christian holy lady. Didn't know what Rob Zombie was. That was fun. Yeah. And then, like, they could tell you stories about their childhood and everything. Stories and stories and stories.
You think I'd come on together? Your
Oh,
mom
yeah.
and your dad?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's make that happen after Durhamfest.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be there, right?
Yes.
So, all right, I'll talk to them at
My
Durhamfest.
mom and dad will be there. My brother won't because he has to work midnight
Yeah.
at the job.
Yep.
But they're going. My mom and dad will be there. It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be a fun time. I'm really looking
Oh.
forward to it.
I have to ask this.
Oh,
I
yes.
have to say it because she would kill me if I didn't. Okay. If you was hit by a truck and you was lying out there and that gutter dying, I feel like you know this already.
No, I don't know where this is going.
Laying out there in that gutter dying, and you had time to sing one song that people will remember. You need to catch on to this. I swear if you don't. Before you're dirt, one song that would let God know how you felt about your time on earth. One song that would let your friends and family know how you felt about your time here too. One song that will sum you up. What would it be?
Man, whose fucking question is that? Is that Nicole?
Please tell me.
Or is that you?
No, that's Nicole.
That's-
Please tell me you know what this is from.
No, I don't get that reference. What is that from?
It's a Johnny Cash song.
That the lyrics are a Johnny Cash song?
Yes.
It sounded familiar.
If you was hit, that's why I was like, what? Oh yeah, that's a song. No,
Okay,
duh,
yeah,
that's why
I'm
I have to go.
I'm not too versed in my Johnny Cash, unfortunately. I'm probably pissed a lot of people off here. I think he's way overrated. Sorry, shoot me.
She had to. She was like, you have to tell him about this. He's going to know it's me. I'm like, sure, okay, I'll ask. I'll do it.
But honestly, I mean, to answer the question, you sum up one song about life, man.
Not your life.
Yeah. I don't know. I put a lot of realism into my lyrics. Was a whole other thing we didn't talk about. I remember writing songs when I was dating Julia. So Julia and I started dating right when Durham was recording Carry Me. It was before we were recording Carry Me Home. Right around the time Durham started. And she told me my lyrics were shit. It pissed me off so bad. I was like, you don't know shit. She's like, I know what's good. And, I was hurt by that. And you kind of bristle up and you get defensive. But then it was like, yeah, I literally spend zero time on my lyrics. And I did. They're not important to me. To me, it's about the melody and the hook and the delivery and the riff. Like Led Zeppelin's lyrics. What are those? Nobody knows. The Beatles lyrics, okay, they're nothing profound. I mean, all you need is love. That's a great sentiment. But like, I just, and especially the '90s lyrics, like My Libido, Mosquito, they didn't mean shit.
Yeah.
So I just grew up not thinking lyrics were important. But to hear that your lyrics are terrible, and then you self-reflect and you go, yeah, they kind of are, made me a much better writer. Because it's like, okay. Fair enough. Like, I do need to put some... And it made me a lot better. And I realized that I did have because I'm a good writer. Writing's boring because there's no music behind it, right?
Yeah.
But so if you just apply the writing ability to songs, it's a new kind of challenge. You're trying to write something within the framework of some kind of rhyming scheme, or some kind of rhythmic scheme, where the delivery is based on, a certain amount of beats. And I've actually gotten to where I really enjoy writing lyrics. But lyrics are very important to me now because even when I was younger, I would kind of obfuscate real life things into songs that were very cryptic, because songs to me are like a journal. I've never been good at keeping a journal, but when I write a song, I'm writing about that emotion I'm feeling at that time, and so I can listen to a song and know exactly what every lyric means, but they're veiled, they're metaphorical. So I like to write in a way that I know exactly what it means, but you as a listener can interpret it in your own way.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of writing, because I've had people come to me and say, this song means this to me, and I'm like, that's
not
nowhere,
what it means.
nowhere close to what I wrote it about, but I see where you get that, and I'm glad that you have that interpretation of that song, And so, my lyrics are very personal, but they make you vulnerable, so I don't like to make them super obvious. It's like country. I'm not a big fan of country, because it's storytelling, which I'm not a storytelling songwriter, or B, it's just so blatantly obvious that it's like, okay, you're just saying it right out loud. Like, that's not very creative. So being able to kind of write it, kind of a little bit of wordplay and playing around to get that right sound that can deliver the hook but also mean something. But that question, man, a song that like sums up your entire life, honestly, it'd probably have to be Minuteman. I don't think there's any way. Guys don't last very long. It's a fact.
There you go, Nicole. That's your
There you
answer.
go. If I could sum up my life, it would be Minuteman. Once you start going, the clock starts ticking down. No, we'll leave it right there. That would sum up my life. But no, honestly, that's an interesting question. There's a song that has not come into existence yet called "Collapsing in the Masterpiece," that would be on Durham album 5, so Walter and I haven't even gotten to it yet. But I think it's one of my greatest songs, and it talks about the weight of the world. So basically the concept of the song is that you're living in art. You're living in this beautiful artistic world with all this beauty in it. Meanwhile, you're so stressed and bogged down with work and stresses and all these things that you can't fully appreciate the grandiose majesty that is life. And so that would probably, if it was one of my songs, that would probably be it. And that's the concept of that. And the idea of collapsing in the masterpiece is like, you're in this beautiful thing, but you're so overwhelmed with the real shit that you can't even appreciate it.
Yeah.
So that concept, I'm excited to get to that one, but I also don't want to cherry pick, shit, because these songs have been vetted for years and years and years, and like the way I like to write an album is I'll say, okay, I'm going to do 13 songs, and when I get to 13, I'm going to listen to that playlist over and over and over and over and over. And if you get to a song where you're like, I just don't like it, delete it, get it going. Yeah. You only keep 8s and above. And then once you get to a point where you can listen to the entire album and go, I can't cut a single thing from that, close the book on it, it's done. Well, when you're not in a band anymore, your band's on hiatus, that just sits there, right? Yeah. So, like Walter and I have worked up the entire... So IV, the 4th Durham album, was going to be a double album. I've always wanted to do a double album. I don't know why. It's just, it didn't seem like very many people did it.
Yeah.
The Beatles did it, Smashing Pumpkins did it, George Harrison, a few others, But it's just, you just don't hear of it a lot. And I was like, I'm a prolific enough songwriter. I can write enough songs so I can just do that. And I thought it would be cool. And so Durham 4 is a double album, but we started, kind of at the front of it. And so we're kind of going through and picking songs that work with the new songs we're writing. And so it's like, well, these work together. It's a really cool experience. I hope you'll enjoy the Outlaw King set, because it's a mixture of new stuff and what would have been Durham stuff. But if Durham's going to just do one show a year and that's what we're going to do, then I'm going to move forward with those songs. I mean, they're my songs, you know. So
Yeah.
now me and Walt are bringing them to life, and Dad, and hopefully Kurt will join us soon. So I know Nicole's talking about maybe doing something at Morano's, like a live podcast. She's talked about doing something there, and we might partner up with her and do some music if she does that. We've had some offers for a couple other things, so I don't know where it's gonna go. All I know is that Durhamfest III is gonna be a kick-ass show. I'm glad you're gonna be there. Are you gonna be taking some documentary footage too?
Yep.
Like last time? That was
like
fun.
Last time.
That was a lot of fun.
I want to talk to more people this time, but I feel like it's going to be more of getting a lot of footage of people hanging out and stuff, and then doing the huge show.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. I just love the idea that there's, you know, introducing kids to music is really, really cool. You know, I think you can never have enough musicians out there in the world, and we're gonna do so. I still want to do something out here as well, and so what we've decided to do is in the spring we're gonna do Durham Fest, and in the fall we're gonna do out here a campfire jam.
Oh, that would be nice.
Because I've got a lot of friends who've been on the podcast. Jeff Calvert's a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the guy. He sounds great. He doesn't want to get up on stage. He doesn't want to perform in front of people. I know a lot of people like that who are really talented. They'll play around a campfire, but they don't want to get up on stage and do that production, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to do something with those guys. And I'm not good at campfire jams. I'm just not a good enough guitar player to just jam with people. I write my own shit, and I have a very specific way. And so, like, I don't work well in that kind of environment, and those people don't like the structure of kind of what I do. So I want to balance that out. So probably in September, where we did the original Durham Fest, we're going to start doing a campfire jam out here.
Good.
Where we're just going to have people just bring a guitar, and we'll go around the horn. Just play a song, and if people want to join in, join in. And that way there's no pressure. You're not performing for an audience. But we'll still have friends, family, you know, bring your kids out and stuff like that. I just, you know, growing up, when my dad knew a lot of people, so he could get me into these concerts, but it wasn't legal, you know. I was able to get in there, but it was one of those magical experiences in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being 14, 15 years old, seeing Jerry Cantrell or the Nixons or whoever it was just so cool to me. And I think, you know, getting kids exposed to music, and even, you know, hopefully I can get more younger bands next year. I'd like to focus more on that, giving them an opportunity to get up on stage and do something, you know. But I think the campfire jam will be fun too. Totally different vibe, you know. You don't have to have a fucking sound system. There's no mics. There's no anything. It's just people with their instruments, and that's as real as you get. I mean, they're both real. The production of a concert is really cool, you know, that tightness, that a lot goes into it, and I truly appreciate that kind of stuff. But, you know, I think the campfire jam will be fun too, so that way you can get the best of both worlds and get people involved that wouldn't normally want to just do a show.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing, so.
And maybe it will help them get out of their shell and be like, oh, maybe I'll try it.
Maybe for some, and maybe that's just what they want to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I might even throw a song in the mix. You know, we'll see. But yeah, so I think having 2 times a year, that kind of thing, and we'll see where Outlaw Kings goes. I know our number one goal is to get an album recorded. I want to do it at Crisp Recording Studios. So we'll figure something out. I'd like to do it by the end of the year. But we've got the album. Like it's half Durham 4 Part 1, and then it's half new shit. Because I haven't written this many songs in a short amount of a period since I was in my 30s. Like, because, I mean, if you have a guitar in your hand, you're 95% more likely to write a song, right? So the way I've been writing over the last 12 years is like, oh, you get a melody, you record it into a phone, and then if you have time, maybe you work it up, right? But now that we're playing all the time, I've always got a guitar in my hands. Yeah. So it's like, oh, well, here's a fucking riff, or here's this or that. And so just being in a band again, like with Walt, has me playing guitar a lot more. So, and then the collaborative efforts of it. I mean, he writes his own drums. I mean, so he's obvious, and he understands. But he's a huge Durham fan. Like that's one of his favorite bands. Not because I'm his dad. He loves the music, And that's insane. There's nothing I ever pushed on him. He just loved the music. And I mean, the fact that he knew all the songs, is a testament to that. But I mean, Gary's parts are not easy. That's not beginner level shit. And, he's just learning all that stuff. So to be able to write with him, because writing by yourself and not having anybody to play with is what do you do with it? You just put it in a folder and move on. But now we can bring these things to life. And the YouTube channel is getting more views than the podcast channel, or the Durham channel is. Because, songs are a whole lot easier to consume than a 2-hour podcast with some drunk assholes you don't even know. Like, who wants to watch that shit? I mean, it's fun for me just to, I'll always have this conversation, and I'll always remember this conversation. And, telling that story, and it's a beautiful thing for record keeping, but I get it. Most people don't have 2 hours to sit down and listen to something. Whereas a song, man, you can just jump in there 3 minutes and check it out. And if you like it, you come back for more. But I think new music is in the air. Let's put it that way. And we got Durhamfest coming up on June 7th. So we are less than 2 weeks out.
2 weeks.
It's going to be fun.
We got
Thank you so much for your participation in it. And I just want to say, I know when we started working together a year ago or so, you had some life events that had you in a dark place. Mm-hmm. And it has been really good to see you smile.
Good. I'm glad.
And you have a beautiful smile. And you really do. And you're a beautiful soul and a beautiful person. And I'm glad that you're part of this community with us. I know Nicole and I both very much appreciate everything you do. And I'm glad to see you in a good space.
I'm glad to be back and better.
Feels good, doesn't it?
It feels better and good to be happy again.
Yes, I'm glad, and I hope we can keep it that way for as long as possible.
I'm hoping so too.
Shit's gonna happen. We have bad days and bad moments, but you seem very, very happy right now. And I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, I feel happy.
Good.
Feel better. I gotta go see his mom after this. So.
All right. Well, let's see. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
I'm happy.
Good. Happy. That's the way we'll leave it.